Americans love pickup trucks. Pickups accounted for 20% of all vehicle sales so far this year, and they are outselling sedans for the first time ever.
The pickup truck industry is America's most prominent and most profitable industry. So it's extremely important, particularly to the Detroit 3 automakers. The F-Series pickup has been America's #1 pickup and America's #1 selling car for literally 30 plus years. So it is a substantial amount of their sales and their profits.
At the same time, there is an electric revolution taking place.
It's a really exciting time for the automotive industry. I compare it to the start of the 19th century when motor vehicles were first being invented. And we're in a similar time period now. There's a lot of non-traditional manufacturers who want to come and be part of this journey to the electric vehicle.
Combine the ruggedness and toughness of a truck and the technological advancements of an electric vehicle, and you have the ultimate toy. This is why established players like GM, Ford, Tesla, and a slew of startups like Rivian, Lordstown, and Bollinger are all working on electric pickups.
Electric pickup trucks were not even something we had on the radar just a few years ago, and now all of a sudden this market has really exploded to the point of perhaps there's already more supply than there is demand, because we haven't really proven necessarily that there is strong demand or desire among truck owners to have an electric pickup.
I've been in electric trucks for 15 years, so I'm somewhat gratified that all of a sudden it's the rage. We got to clean up the air. What's the low-hanging fruit? What should we do first? And pickup trucks, because they're so popular and because they get such poor gas mileage, if you just said, let's clean up the pickup trucks, that would get you a long way there. It was one of those things that was ready for reinvention.
The race is on for who will be first to market. But when there are a plethora of EV trucks to choose from, will loyal pickup truck drivers make the switch to electric?
I think to your really loyal, more of a motorhead type of a buyer, you're going to need to convince them that an electric truck has advantages.
Everyone is rushing to it because they want to protect what they have. The Detroit automakers, they lead traditional pickups. They don't want Tesla or a startup like Rivian to come in and really take away some of their customers. While Tesla, an EV leader, is coming to the segment trying to defend its all-electric vehicle market share. So it's really kind of a battle of two heavyweights.
Let's start with the established automakers.
The companies benefiting from the pickup truck market right now are by far the Detroit automakers. At Ford, General Motors, and Fiat Chrysler, it accounts for 30% or more of their sales, and that means a lot of profits as well. General Motors has called its truck business a $65 billion business. The Detroit automakers, they rule the segment, and it is their bread and butter.
General Motors says it is working towards an all-electric future, and it just resurrected the Hummer brand with an EV version that's expected to go on sale next fall.
Well, General Motors has stated that our vision is 0, 0, 0 vision, 0 emissions, 0 congestion, and 0 accidents. So obviously a major part of that is the electrification of the vehicles that we sell. In putting this vehicle together and really beginning the ideation phase and looking at the battery technology, what it would deliver in terms of performance, speed, capability, charging capability, range, when we just realized the sheer capability that it could deliver, it really felt like it needed to be a Hummer. Now, obviously, we spoke with a lot of customers, and really, what did people recall of the old Hummer? And what we found was people recall that yes, it was premium, yes, it was unbelievably capable, which are the real positives. And the great news was that as soon as we mentioned what if it was electric, it was absolutely phenomenal. It was a breakthrough, a big smile came out on people's faces, because any of the negativity which may have surrounded it was immediately washed away.
And then there is Ford. Ford's F-Series lineup of full-size trucks is the industry's leading truck brand, and the F-150 has been the best-selling truck in America for 43 years.
Ford, in the next 24 months, will launch an all-electric F-150 and an all-electric Transit van. We are #1 in the pickup and the van market. We are electrifying, and we're a brand that people trust.
Ford Motor is supposed to come to the market with their F-150 all-electric pickup truck sometime around mid-2022. Ford, they seem to be going a lot more for the commercial, kind of traditional truck buyer. And you can tell by their designs that they're for work trucks more than kind of a lifestyle vehicle.
And then there is a US leader in the electric vehicle market. Tesla sold a vast majority of electric vehicles in the US so far this year. It unveiled its EV pickup last year, and the event got a lot of attention.
Oh my God. Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
Tesla has started construction on a factory in Austin, Texas to build the Cybertruck.
Tesla making a truck in Texas is kind of an interesting play for Tesla, who is such a uniquely California company. Being there lends some credibility to their truck. It's a fairly savvy move by Elon Musk.
Tesla's decision to build the Cybertruck in Texas was very strategic. You've got buyers there who have gone generations with buying Fords and Chevys. And for Tesla to enter the pickup truck market against those kind of brands, they need to be in the heartland of America.
But whether the truck drivers in the heartland of America are ready to make the switch to electric is yet to be seen. In a country where pickup trucks haven't changed all that much in 100 years, the design of the Cybertruck is different.
Pickup truck buyers tend to be pretty conservative in what they like. It needs to look like a pickup truck, all that kind of thing. And this doesn't look anything like a pickup truck, but it immediately makes pickup trucks look old-fashioned.
Well, I think there's a preconceived notion of what a pickup truck should be. And I think that's something that we said, if we're going to go bold, we need to do something that breaks that norm.
I think it's gotten a lot of attention, and I also think it's kind of grown on a lot of people for being something different. And Tesla's known to be different. This is a completely sci-fi direction for them.
In car design, polarizing is never bad. From what I've learned in doing focus groups for a long time, is that if you have half the people like it, half the people don't, you usually have something that's pretty good, because you don't want necessarily people to feel kind of in the middle about it, because then you get nobody. At least you want to evoke some sort of emotion, either positive or negative.
And perhaps the Cybertruck will end up looking a little bit different than the prototype.
What would you change when it finally reaches production? What do you think you would do?
We're 5% too big, and if we just take all the proportions and drop them by about 5%.
Oh, you mean all the way around?
Yeah, so it's got to fit in a normal garage.
Right.
Yeah.
Tesla obviously has such a massive fan base and again, a very loyal fan base. That plays well into the pickup truck segment overall. When you look at that, they're the ones to watch. It's all going to come down to price points, the usability of the vehicle.
Tesla said they'll have the Cybertruck to market in late 2021. If Tesla's track record is anything, and obviously they have started very little production, that's going to be a tough time frame to have a vehicle out in late 2021. And that doesn't just go for Tesla, but a lot of the EV automakers that are planning to have vehicles out late next year. The coronavirus caused a lot of delays, and it is very hard to build a vehicle.
Rivian is one of the EV startups that has been around the longest. The Michigan-based company was founded in 2009 and was in stealth mode for years. Its R1T truck is slated to deliver next year. Unlike Tesla, Rivian has cozied up with the Detroit automakers. Ford invested $500 million, and it purchased a factory from Mitsubishi in Illinois.
They're really going for the lifestyle buyer. They've got an SUV coming, they've got a pickup truck coming, and it's really a nice-looking modern vehicle.
I'd keep an eye on Rivian. They're likely to be the first one out of the gate, and I think they're certainly the one to watch. The vehicle has some interesting features and content, and I think from a capability standpoint, as far as towing, they've done some off-road testing, and I think they're proving that it's off-road worthy.
Rivian is a good example. They're really finding their own little niche, and it's interesting to watch them too, because the pickup truck and the utility vehicle that they're talking about are very much aimed at more of a lifestyle buyer. Somebody who wants to go off-road for the weekend and go camping and do that kind of thing. They're aiming for a buyer with more disposable income.
Rivian has raised about $6 billion so far without selling a single truck or SUV. It also has an unlikely backer in the auto industry. Amazon led a $700 million investment and announced it would purchase 100,000 electric vans from Rivian.
The Amazon investment for Rivian was a huge deal for the industry, but to have Amazon's backing and their blessing, not to mention pre-orders for a van, it really kind of propelled them into another level compared to a lot of these startups.
Another thing that Rivian has kind of in its favor is it's planning to sell its skateboard. the architecture underneath the bottom of the pickup truck and that makes it go. They have an agreement with Amazon, and that's a pretty substantial order, and it should help them move along a little bit more smoothly. But even with all of that stuff in place, they're still going to be a relatively low volume player for a while.
Rivian, they're considered probably the most likely to be a competitor to Tesla, as well as the traditional automakers entering this segment, and they've got enough capital to bring the vehicles to market. But you need to build the vehicles, because until then you really haven't accomplished anything.
Another new truck company is Ohio-based Lordstown Motors, and its endurance truck is slated to come out in 2021. The company just went public via a SPAC.
We're in a race to be first, right? We really want to be first mover, first electric truck, pickup truck in the world.
Lordstown Motors, which is catering to the commercial truck market. They recently purchased the assembly plant, Lordstown Assembly, from General Motors, and they're planning to outfit that for production of their EV pickup in about a year from now.
This is the wave of the future. This is the first time it's ever been done. It's been thought of for a long time. It, in theory, should work better. I mean, it should work better. Go!
This is pickup truck 2.0, and a lot of people want to be part of that.
Instead of catering to the luxury buyer, Lordstown plans to sell trucks to fleets. Lordstown says it has secured 40,000 pre-orders for the truck, which would equate to about $2 billion in revenue.
We are a meat and potato work truck, right? We are geared towards fleets, right? You know, fleet managers, as it turns out, are just regular people, right? And they have noticed that this whole electrification of automobiles has completely passed them by. There's been nothing for them. So, you know, we're enjoying that pent-up demand because we're the only one down in this price point making a full-size pickup truck.
For any new car company, service needs to be a part of the plan. This is one reason Burns says they are selling only to fleets at first.
One nice thing about fleets is you can geographically roll out your service centers because you got to get premier service, right? If you were to do consumers, I'd have to have service all around the country on the first day. Once we've expanded where we have service centers all across the country, will we switch over to consumer or open it up to consumers? I think so, but it isn't part of the plan at this moment.
The B1 and the B2.
There is Bollinger, which is more of a kind of simplistic, modern design pickup truck. It's almost like a boxy military vehicle. And they are also planning to come to market Q4 of next year, have someone else build their vehicle though.
Michigan-based Bollinger Motors has yet to announce its manufacturing partner, but says it will do so soon. It unveiled a pickup and SUV last year. It also says it will produce an electric delivery van, just like Rivian.
Bollinger and Lordstown are interesting propositions because they are both going more towards the work truck side of things. Bollinger, they're taking a very specific route compared to Ford or GM or Ram that offer full-size pickup trucks in any number of configurations. These are trucks that are going to start off in very specific configurations. I think it will help them, each of these companies, as they are finding their space and finding their ground.
One other company to mention is Nikola. It unveiled renderings of the Nikola Badger this year, after the company went public via a SPAC.
The thing about them is they're a little bit different of a play compared to a lot of the other startups. They're really pushing a semi-truck first, and then they're going to come out with the Badger, and they're planning to partner with another automaker, just like Bollinger is, to bring their truck to market.
It announced a $2 billion deal with GM. But after Nikola was accused of fraud by short seller Hindenburg Research and founder Trevor Milton resigned, it appears the GM deal has been called into question.
We've announced our collaboration with Nikola and our intentions, and that's just still playing out and going through the various processes. So more to come on that.
Our primary business is to provide heavy trucks, fuel cell powered trucks. The Badger was something we were doing because a lot of people were interested in it. And we said from the beginning that if we build the Badger, it will be with a partner. If we don't have a partner, we probably won't build the Badger.
While the startups attempt to release their first vehicles, the established players are retooling to build the EVs. The automakers seem confident that these trucks will be successful.
Our electric vehicles will be profitable, end of story.
Initially, just because the volume isn't there yet, the margins are probably going to get squeezed on an electric vehicle. However, over the longer run, you're looking at a vehicle that has many less parts than a traditional gas-powered vehicle. So there are certain advantages, not only in terms of initial cost, but then also durability, cost to the consumer. There's just less things that can go wrong and potentially break in an EV than there are in a traditional gas-powered engine.
But even if there are advantages, Americans still don't seem ready to make the switch to electric. EV sales account for only 1.5% of the overall U.S. auto market so far in 2020.
The consumer isn't there yet from a mass standpoint. I think we're moving in that direction, but with gas prices the level that they're at right now and some of the challenges that EVs face, it still isn't yet a mainstream market.
Plus, electric vehicles are expensive. These EV pickup trucks are no exception.
I think price is a challenge, I think, for the average consumer. Once they get over the price hurdle, then it becomes how convenient is it to charge. So I think there's a convenience factor still that has to be overcome.
If you look at somebody like, a Ford F-150 electric truck that has millions of potential buyers on the road versus somebody like Rivian, who is a startup and has zero, buyers on the road that have experienced their product, have liked their product, can recommend their product. So I think that is going to be a challenge. I mean, it's always really hard to build up a brand name, especially when you're looking at real historical competition that is almost interwoven into the fabric of American history, if you think about these Ford and Chevrolet pickup trucks.
Traditionally, pickup trucks in general are very loyal. They're loyal to their brands, they're loyal to their segments, and they know what they want. So the newcomers, they've got an uphill battle talking consumers into considering them. So I do expect that the early buyers will be pretty early adopters, they'll be innovators. But in order to tip to a more mainstream buyer and a tip to more volume, we need to have the confidence of the traditional pickup truck buyer.
All of the vehicles mentioned are available for pre-order.
Pre-orders don't necessarily mean sales, as we've seen with the Model 3 and other reservation kind of holders.
People have put down their $100 deposit to stand in line for it. And there is definitely that space in there. But at the end of the day, to take it and get to a significant level of volume like they want, again, it's going to come back to the usability of that truck. It's about range, it's about infrastructure, and it's about consumers believing in the capability. If that buyer doesn't believe in the capability, it's kind of a non-starter. People
have been putting gas in their vehicle for decades, as long as the car has been around. So changing that mindset is tough, even if it is the best thing in the world. People are still resistant to change. So I think it's going to be tough.